Ho, 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 yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Hawkeye series review. I am the Archer dress now, and we're talking about episode 4 tonight, and I'm joined by.
The partner slash best friend, Kirklin Patzer.
Mhm.
I'm the Thanos was right, Taylor Field.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We've done lots of content, weekly Dexter episodes, weekly Hawkeye episodes. We just did last week. You can check on the feed the comic book versions for Hawkeye, the entire Matt Fraction 22 issues run. Lots of fun. Our Matrix retrospective is dropping this Thursday. We just recorded that bad boy. Think that's gonna be a fun retro. The first one was good. I'm excited to get in the sequels. We've got tons of stuff coming up. Taylor, where can they find all these goodies when they're out there in the wild? Who if they want to get the word on the street, where's our street located at?
It's located in Canada. GeekVerse.ca is our home base street. You can find us in the search bar. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse on our Facebook. We're all over the internet. Just type in on our Patreon, and you're gonna find awesome
X
exclusive,
videos.
ad-free, OnlyFans content on there. It's great.
I'm waiting. Like I'm not gonna do it right now because we're going long. But I think the
Just
next
whips your
two.
dick out. Is that
Well,
what you're
that
implying?
no, that's for the patrons. But no, I think next after 9 or next time we do a GV3, I gotta just search like geek verse in a porn chat and see what happens. Like what comes up. And if it's episode of us, great. Uh, um, I'll as always, we'll do non-spoilers, and then you'll throw a break, and then we'll do spoilers and whatnot. So I'll go first because I don't know where Kirkland is. I think I know where Taylor was, and we'll debate about that. This is definitely my least favorite episode. Not a bad episode. I think this is just one of these episodes that will work a lot better when you rewatch the series in full, and it works as it just kind of progresses the plot. But I think there's a good moment in there, and then there's a really good scene between Kate and Clint, which I'm excited to talk about. More of the stuff that I've liked the series, tackling some of the PTSD thing in their relationship. I think this is just another episode. And this is why it's still good. Still liked it. It's still like I would put it last as far as the 4 episodes, but still would give it a pass. Like pretty good rating and whatnot because I like the Clint and Kate dynamic. It's like that in the comics. We like it in the show so far, and that continues to be good. Uh, you know, Taylor had like a earth-shattering reaction and stuff, but I didn't get too excited because I knew Taylor does this a lot of times. And then when the reveal happens, like, okay, this is about it. Yeah, I liked the episode, but it was one of the. I think it was the first episode I wasn't engaged the entire time. Where I've kind of maybe had like I'd say like highs and lows with all 3 episodes, but I always feel like I was really, really engaged. Where there's some stuff in here, it's like, okay, this is good, and we'll talk about spoilers. There's like a certain aspect they brought back, which I didn't need again, and yeah, I don't know. And I will say this again. I know we've kind of put this as a theory that we think that a lot will be left open because we'll probably get a season 2. But again, I worry now with only 2 episodes left that I think there's a lot of things left open that like I said, I guess the show could end every right away. Hawkeye season 2 coming to Disney Plus, blah, blah, blah. But it just feels like there's a lot of storylines still open, and they've introduced some other ones too, where I just feel like there's maybe too much going on. It's kind of different like when we talk about Dexter, we have all these storylines, but we know, hey, we still got a whole half a season left. We got 5 episodes. This show we got 2, and I just feel like I feel like it's gonna kind of be a little bit rushy. Even the stuff kind of near the back half of this episode felt a little rushy. So again, enjoying it, but I think it's stumbling a little bit. And I'll be excited to see how they execute it. But I am worried that they are going to kind of rush to the finish line with only 2 episodes. And this one was a short one too. This was like 40 minutes. So it's probably like 35, 33 with credits and everything like that. So the first 2 were like 48, 49. It's like, okay, there's some solid stuff. But the fact that it feels every week it's getting shorter and shorter, I'm like, uh-oh. But again, we could get like a WandaVision thing where the last episode are the longest. So that's what I thought. Taylor Field, you were on the other side because I just looked over when my episode was done. I saw, holy fuck. That's what I saw. So what did you think of this episode?
Well, again, I love this episode. I really did. I think he mentioned some great points. The dynamic between Clint and Kate. Now, throughout the week, we were talking because Kirkland mentioned something, and I was just kind of like poking the bear a little bit. I was like, okay,
Spoiler free
want.
section, Taylor. Just remind
I
her.
know. Oh, I know.
And just for the clarity, me and Kirkland were talking to Taylor. He was just talking at us. We didn't address him at once in the chat. Like, okay, whatever.
But yeah, I was poking some questions because Kirkland mentioned a perspective he had on the episode, and I was like, okay, that's very like interesting, and I had again my own thought with it, and then Travis countered with being on the opposite end of the spectrum. again, I don't know
I'm
where.
not spoiling anything. They don't have public to our GV3
No,
chat.
no,
You're
no,
not gonna be like, don't celebrate, don't celebrate. You know what's
no.
what?
Where
There's
I'm
nothing
going.
surprising. Hashtag Travis told you. It's
Where
not
I'm
a
going
setting
with
in
it
the way
is
of
like
life.
I'm blown away, but like where you able to like pull that from? Because again, like I knew certain things were coming, but at the same
My
time, it
ass.
caught me off guard because it just like it happened and it was like so surreal. Like holy shit, like let's go, this is super exciting. Like again, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff when the MCU is so good at that, but. I thought it was an interesting conversation. Now here we are, and I'm really excited to see where we're going to go from this point. But there's a few things like in that conversation that we had talking about those perspectives you guys had that I am excited to touch upon in spoilers.
You hear that, Kirklin? You're wrong. I'm right. You're small. I'm big.
Oh my God.
Hashtag
I'll pull the transcripts. I am not
Travis
wrong.
told you. What?
I'm not
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, you are wrong.
No, I'm not. Pull up the chat. Pull up the chat right now. Pull up the chat right now. I can't even say what it is because of the spoiler. Yeah.
But you're 100% wrong.
No, I'm
You're
not.
1000%
No, I'm not.
wrong. That's
No,
the
I'm
most
not.
wrong you've ever been.
No.
What did you think of the episode, though?
Yeah, I went through like different phases of liking this episode and not liking this episode. I don't know if it's just because it was a messy episode, like just that's what it is.
Pacing was off.
Pacing was off. And like I felt like I was just bouncing around at certain moments.
Yeah.
There was some absolute phenomenal moments in this episode, though. I think like at the start, I'm like, oh okay, yeah, I'm not digging this, and then it gets to a certain scene, and I was just like totally like in awe, and maybe again that's maybe that feeling was due to just like the poor pacing of it, or just like the just like there was quite a lot that happened actually in this episode for
A
it
lot,
only
yeah.
being 35 minutes of runtime, 5 minutes of credits for a total runtime of 40 minutes. So, and like, fuck, you just reminded me there's only 2 episodes left. Like, I am a little bit worried going forward. Yeah, no, fuck. I just, before I get into spoilers, what I liked about this episode, I think it's, I don't want to say it's my least favorite because there was some really, really good stuff that happened. But I'm like confused.
Yeah, I think for me it was like you described it good, where it's like, oh, okay, I'm kind of into this, and then there'd be something like, okay, here we go, we're getting really good with the episode, here we go, and then it would kind of go back down. I'm like, oh, okay, we're back here, and then like, oh, we're getting really good, and then we're going down. And I think that is like with how we are all over in this storyline, because it visits like every storyline they've set up so far. I think that's the problem with having so many storylines, and it's tough, right? Because I was looking at Loki, and I was like, well, at least with Loki, it felt concluded. But if you remember Loki, it ended on this fucking massive cliffhanger, right? But for some reason, I guess it just felt like that had one storyline, right? It was to find out who the fuck was behind the whole time variant thing and everything like that. And that was the end of that story. And we found out it was Kang, and we found out who it was, and we got a big reveal that was Kang. It was like a 2 for like, fuck, this is awesome. So to me, it ended the story also of Loki and Sylvie that, okay, they couldn't adapt, they couldn't coexist, and then they left it that little cliffhanger of, okay, Kang's all over, he's messing stuff up. There's just so many storylines, like I said, unless the next 2 episodes are really long. I feel like, I guess my worry is, I'm always fine with stuff being left open, especially if we're getting a second season. Just my worry is that they're going to leave too much hanging for me to feel like satisfied at the end of the season. I don't want it so much to be, I want to be wanting more, but I don't want to be needing more. And that's what I'm worried of. Like, I just don't want to be like, well, it's the MCU and you'll be back. I still want shows to kind of have like a good solid ending for a season and then leave some low hanging fruit and stuff. But I don't know, but like, I don't want to say anything in non-spoilers. I'll mention it, but yeah, anything else non-spoilers you guys want to bring up?
I think this was like the most Christmassy feel out of all the episodes. Really getting into the Christmas vibes. We got snow up here, so I like that aspect of it. And this I think this show is gonna be turning out to be like a fun like holiday watch like going forward. Not sure when the next season would drop. If it drops sometimes around December, that'd be a fun little like yearly tradition. Just go.
Well, they do different holidays each season. One's a Halloween, one's a Thanksgiving, one's a Easter. Kirkland's not liking that idea. He wants it to just be Christmas.
You're trolling me, right? It's
what
not
could be?
confirmed. Yeah.
No, what will be another holiday? International Men's Day. They got to do that one. You know, like the
St.
whole
Patty's.
St. Patty's.
International Women's Day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first break. And then if you've not seen the episode about, if you have, we'll be right back with spoilers. And I think we got a few good things to talk about. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So I'm officially excited to say, me and Kirkland had a little bit to think of our names and whatnot, but I'm officially excited to say that the Pew Boys Club is officially in motion right now because hashtag Pew Boys. Fanboy Clay, throw some respect. You spelled her name fucking wrong, so I don't know who Pooh Boys are,
Yeah.
but
Pooh Boys.
we're the Pew Boys. And so here's the thing, and I think, Tay, that's what you're saying, holy fuck to us. Now, once again, back to the Facebook thing. You said we thought you would see Kingpin before Yelena, I thought, Kirkland. I thought you said that.
Okay, I actually pulled it up because I wanted to be for sure. So first I do a GIF of Kingpin. It's happening tonight. That was my initial, just trying to get a shock factor,
Okay,
trying to get
so
some convo
Kirkland
going.
told you wrong.
Travis
one.
Snell, really? I think maybe end credit. Taylor, why tonight? End credit a final episode, much more likely. Where I'm not even going to talk about that one.
Oh yeah, we Taylor's wrong on that. Well, he's more right than you are as of right now, though.
No,
He has
yeah,
a better
give me some
chance.
credit.
Okay, I guess at this point. So then we go a couple down, yada, yada, yada. Travis replying to Taylor, not a chance. Completely agree with Travis in that one. And then gets to me. We're getting Kingpin or Yelena tonight, and I think it's still too early for Yelena. So I wasn't technically 100% wrong, like you were saying. I wasn't
Was that your
Double
comment?
down,
You
though.
you
Yeah.
said that it's
We're
too
getting
early for
Kingpin
Yelena?
or Yelena tonight, and I think it's still too early for Yelena, is what I said.
So you doubled down on that, though. Oh, Travis is gone.
Or he's just in shock.
Yeah.
Well, I said we're getting Kingpin or Yelena tonight. How is that wrong? That's not 100% wrong.
But you doubled down when you said you still think it's too early for Yelena.
I still think it's too
Yeah.
early, and I'm still not 100% wrong for saying
Nah,
Kingpin
he
or
won't
Yelena
accept the L
tonight.
on this one. He won't accept
No,
the
I'm
L on
not.
this one. You
I'm
lost.
fighting this in court. No,
So
innocent
yeah,
until proven guilty.
we got the big debut. So here's the thing, and I understand, like Taylor, it's maybe I'd be more excited, but I guess it's just one of those that we just know it's coming, right? And to me, I guess it's almost like what we talk about Black Widow. With Kingpin, there's an interest because it opens up a whole box and a whole world of new things. I still feel like this problem will be probably solved next episode. Or my fucking real worry is that this is the only scene Florence Pugh is in the show, and they say this, and you were,
Not
and
a
here's
single fucking word.
yeah, and this is what he had, just a head nod to Kate Bishop, like, "Hey, you want to do it?" And she's like, "Yeah, no, wait, that was a different version I saw." But like, I think you did talk about that, Kirkland, at one point about maybe Florence Pugh could be more safe for next season, and I don't know. That just doesn't get me as excited because I'm excited to see Florence, but I just know I'm going to see her again in the MCU. Again, we know the result, what this is going to be. They're going to fight. They're going to talk it out. They're going to be, "Oh, you really love my sister. Oh, she would have sacrificed herself." Okay, cool. I was hoping it'd be like this Yelena attack would have been at the beginning of an episode, and the whole episode's about Hawkeye and Yelena, and then it's solved and we're good to go. But the fact that it's at the end either means that's what next week's episode is, or it's literally a cliffhanger and we just don't see her again for the season, which I don't know how I feel about that either, because the whole point of Clint being like, "I can't go back to my family till this is solved." I wouldn't buy him going back to his family while there's a Black Widow person out there, and I feel like he's going to be home with his family. So it's not that I was disappointed. I'm excited. It's just like, I know she's going to be in the MCU. She's a massive star. They like her. Everyone other than Clay, who has bad taste, liked, Yelena. So I liked it. It was fun to see. I think we all knew the second that, like, did any of you think it was anyone else but Florence the second year they show Maya in the house?
I did not know who it was because I was like, this looks like a Night Monkey. I know it was a Night Monkey,
Sam
but
Fisher.
it clicked as
Tom
soon as the
Holland.
red wrist
Yeah.
darts came out. I was like, oh, I think I woke Madison up, to be honest. I was so giddy.
She stop masturbating out there, but no, like, and not because the Florence, just because Taylor apparently goes, "Oh, when he sees
Hawkeye."
something surprising." But okay, so I guess that's why you sent the holy fuck thing, because for me it was just like, okay, this is Yelena, here we go,
Yeah.
But for Taylor, that was like,
The holy fuck was more like, Travis was right. Holy fuck. Like,
oh well, I don't know why you're surprised by that. That's like a common occurrence, So, as the other Pew boy, what are you thinking so far? All in the Game says all end credits are usually safe for the last 2 episodes. Yeah, so far, but you never know. They're gonna break that mold, I think, at least once, and she's clearly going episode. That's where I disagree. I don't think it's clear. I think it could be, but then let's say
He's fading.
He was giving me flack about the internet, saying he's fine, but he's
He's like, no, I'm good.
Oh, there he
If
is.
she is in next week's episode, I feel like that's episode 5 almost all dedicated to Hawkeye and Yelena. So that means in the finale, we have to close the thing on Kazi, close the thing on Tracksuit, close the thing on Maya,
So
close the thing on
much.
possible Kingpin, on Jack and her mother, on his family. That sounds either like just honestly, like I'll judge when I see it, but that just sounds way too stuffed. Or
It
again, then
depends
it's like
how
a big
long the
cliffhanger.
episode is, right? I mean, so far we've had
27
all
minutes.
the same. Yeah, 27 minutes. That finale could be well over an hour if they wanted to. I mean, it could
Yeah.
be drastic.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that's good because there's a lot of storylines, like you said, but
Travis, you mentioned you wouldn't say that you're disappointed with like having Yelena in there. I think I am disappointed, honestly. I was
Ooh.
excited because I figured it was her. Like as soon as I saw that like image, I think last week of the Sam Fisher outfit, the Splinter Cell suit, I'm like, yeah, that's got to be Yelena.
Yeah.
Kingpin's not fitting in that suit, so it's who else?
That would have been hype. He's just kicking Clint's ass.
People thought
yeah.
he was gonna be like big Kingpin. It's like the complete opposite end of the
He's
spectrum.
Christian Bale
just a
from
lanker.
Machinist.
Yeah. So I knew it was coming, but God, when all I got was like a head shake and not a single word. I'm like,
That was
are
a
you
weird
fucking
choice.
kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Like that was actually my reaction because I was so hyped. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna see Florence Pugh here. I'm gonna see Florence Pugh here. And okay, it's great to see her face, but like the fact she just like fucks off the roof, doesn't say a single word. 2 episodes left in the season. Yeah, I'd say disappointed.
And don't
Yeah,
even
feel-
dare show Clay's comment because he's completely wrong. He's like acting like a flat earther right now if she improved
Yeah.
her portrayal. Yeah, I don't know. I'm ready to ban him. But Taylor, how are you going to defend this or something?
I'm not defending Clay's case if that's what you're.
No, of
implying.
course not. He's a madman. He's a madman.
He's a
But no, I when Clint was on the roof and he's like, yeah, like I'm fighting
Maya.
Maya, yeah, and I saw Maya in the room fighting Kate. My first thought was like, Skrull confirmed.
Taylor had a wild ride of
So
emotion.
holy fuck! He's saying that like every 10 minutes.
Skrull, Hawkeye.
5 more minutes, he would have been like, "That's Cox. Cox is on my screen." What do you not like about all in the game? You can argue with Clay. Yeah, no, Clay's just completely in the wrong about Yelena. No, it's interesting because like, and no, it is cool because it's something we've kind of fan cast or just like wanted. I do like that we got to see just even the first little like togetherness of Kate Bishop and Yelena. Like those to me so far, there's some people in the minority like Clay, but so far those have been 2 standouts of Phase 4. People want to see them. Those are 2 great powerhouse like actresses right now, like Kate and Florence together. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I hope they do get to like buddy up like Widow and Natasha did, you know. So, and I don't even want to see like the type of Raylo fans that went wild. I don't want to see what people are gonna do with that type of fan art. But I'm telling you, there's gonna be some tension there. But I'm not disappointed by it. It's all about, to me, the follow up now where, this is definitely before the last 3 episodes have been like, hey, this could supplant Loki as my favorite MCU show. With this episode and what I think could happen in the next 2, I just don't know the grab on. And like you said, yeah, it could be over an hour, but it's just that, like I said, there's just still a lot. And this still makes me think that I was talking about before, I think it was last week when we got introduced with the uncle character, right? We still don't know if that's Kingpin. And I said, oh, this is not really what I thought would happen. I thought he'd have like one scene just as a tease, then we move forward. I now am back to that camp and thinking that's what we're getting. I think it could, I don't think, because I thought they might set up like this episode or something. He may appear in end credit or near the end. And then you have 5 and 6 to flesh him out a little of like, oh, he's been behind it all. But like, I don't even know, like, I guess Maya is the end boss. Like, I guess for this show, that's what she's going to be. But it's going to be weird because it's just going to be, oh, no, you were, I got to let this go. You killed my father, but I shouldn't live in vengeance. And my father was a bad guy. Like, I just don't know. And even then, I feel like it's kind of weird if, let's say, they show Kingpin in episode 5 and then in episode 6, he's just the big bad all of a sudden. I don't know. It's again, either it's going to feel a little empty or a little rushed, but I'm hoping, again, I liked this episode. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that I love the first 3. So maybe it's just that we have all the stuff that we see right now. We just don't see the pattern, how it's going to go yet,
Yeah, like it's tough for me to pin a main boss at the end of the season, right? Because we have the swordsman. I already forget his name. Jack. Is that his name?
Jack, yeah.
Yeah. So we have him, who is pretty much has been set up as like a main or somewhat main antagonist from like episode 1, right?
Yeah.
You have Eleanor just being ever so sketchy. I am full in the camp now that she's bad, and I'm not trusting her. Could you see that like making out of the season? I guess so, because there's just so many other factors. Like Maya is like the main immediate threat, sort of. Like we
Yeah.
even had Archer, Clint, talking with oh my gosh, Kazi, that like if Maya stays on this route, she's gonna die. Like,
He pretty much said like I'm gonna like he's I don't know if he's bluffing or not, but he kind of insinuating like I will kill her if she keeps coming, which is like
yeah,
I don't know. I wonder if he's still in that place or not anymore that he could pull it off. But that's what I think he was trying to say to Kazi. Like it's not gonna end
yeah,
well for her, you know.
and I think that'll be like a big clash. So picturing that possibly in the finale, but
Yeah.
then there's already so many like things in the mix. You know, you have Yelena, which I personally feel like she shouldn't come back for this season. I would love to have her in the season, but it's just like there's already so many things in the mix. Um, it's just tough for me to see like a clean end to the season.
Hmm.
Obviously they can fool me, and I'll be blown away if they do it very, very well. But it's just with all the factors in play right now, it's just really tough to make it seem um, like a fluid of a finish, which is how many moving parts are involved. And especially
Yeah.
like there's so many moments in this episode where I'm like, okay, this seems like a somewhat filler type episode at stretches when they're doing like the Christmas games. I loved all that. It was
Hmm.
great, but I think that would have fit more if we had 10 episodes, you know. It's like we only 2 episodes left, and we just, I don't want to call it wasting, but like we spent a lot of time just like with just having fun with Clint and Kate. And yeah, there was some great character moments there where they were kind of bonding. And then I feel like we kind of throw a lot of that stuff away when Clint's just like, no, I'm done with you now. And like again, I'm paraphrasing here, but just like he's like really pushing her back, and I felt like they had a lot of good bonding moments in this episode. So I don't know, maybe it's just the runtime, and it was only 40 minutes, and there was just a lot going on that I have issues with.
Yeah, for me, the whole like I knew it was probably coming, but the pushing Kate away, I thought that felt a little rushed, and it was kind
Yeah,
of weird that the mom gives him this heartfelt speech of like, "Hey, you've lost people. I don't want to lose Kate. I've lost a lot of people, so please don't let this happen." And it kind of felt like he was on board because she's like, "Can you drop the case?" He's like, "Well, I'm not gonna drop it, but I'll make sure your daughter doesn't get hurt." To me, that would have been the time. That's where you do the push away. But the thing is, like, then he goes the whole episode of like, "Well, yeah, you're gonna join me on this dangerous thing. You're gonna join me on this thing," and I know
yeah,
it's a stake up, but still, it's like felt like he promised the mom, and then like right away he's like, "Ah, now I'll bring Kay along," and then in the end it's like, you know what, yeah, fuck, I can't, I gotta push you away. And I guess you could say like, oh well, because he says like a Black Widow assassin's after us, it's more dangerous. It is, but it's still just like there's other danger factors, and he keeps talking about the fucking Kingpin. If it is him, like, yo, he's so bad and so dangerous, you don't mess with this guy. It's
he's
like,
so big.
yeah, he's big, all right, yeah, GB big, but like the thing is, it's like, okay, if this guy's so bad, same thing. Why is Kate around? You know, like again, like, do you want to put her? So it felt the pacing of that. I will say the two things of like, as far as positives, people might have thought like, oh, you're crapping all over this episode. Again, I liked it for the most part. It just doesn't stack up with the other ones. Only game says it was 34 minutes excluding the
Yeah,
credits. So
that's
there you go.
short.
That is short, but I love, like you said, the Christmas get together. Even though Kate's like, "Oh, it's movie night, right?" It's like, motherfucker, like it's movie night with his family, not movie night alone. Like you're fine, but it's like you showing up's not gonna help. But it did, obviously, and he thanks her. The fun stuff is all good. I love the mixing of the drinks, the teaching of the shooting the coin or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And then once we got that conversation, which I'm glad hashtag Trash told you, Kate did not know last week that he was Ronan. She put that together this week, and I really love that whole conversation about like what's your favorite shot and the one I didn't take. And we've heard the story with Natasha before, but I think Renner's just a great actor. He sells it. She's sold it in a good way, and I wish the scene got to go a little bit more. And if we were gonna do, you know, other stuff, I wish maybe the whole episode was just them in this room because she looked unsure of Clint. Like we talked about this before, that Clint's her idol, and then when she realized 100% like that's Ronan, she's like, "Oh, you make mistakes," and he's like, "They weren't mistakes. Like this is what I'm supposed to do." Like he's pretty much just saying like I've killed a lot of people, and he doesn't, because she says like we all have regrets, but he never says regrets. You know, I think he
Yeah.
regrets that his family's tied into it. And I think that was a great moment of Haley Steinfeld on her face acting like this is someone I look up to, but he's clearly fine with killing people and he's trying to get that across. So that all that stuff was good. And the other scene again, Haley Steinfeld I think was the star of this episode. That moment when Eleanor and Jack were dancing, having a good time. This is the first time that she seemed like she actually liked Jack, and she was like, "Man, you know, like but there could be a future. She says like, I've never seen you like this before. So she's finally like, oh man, this guy, he could be a good guy. Now what's weird, again, the pacing is 10 minutes later, she's just full on board to get rid of Jack. I thought there was going to be a moment where she was going to be like, you know what, maybe Jack's not a part of it, like, because she was trying to warm up to Jack, but it was like, oh, he's perfect for my mom, but fuck him, I'm still gonna take him down. So it's just like, again, all the kind of the twists or like the character turns were just a little out of order or off kilter. What do you have to say about any of this, Taylor Field? But like I said, those two scenes for me, loved them. Those ones felt like the past 3 episodes to me. So
Yeah, for me, I think that the dynamic between Kate and Clint was just absolutely fantastic. I love the moment that they had just practicing with like the coin toss thing. I thought that was great. They had this awesome bonding moment. I think it was fantastic. And when that score kicked in of Vormir, and it was when Nat died, I thought, oh, this is like hitting me. I was just, you got the flashbacks, you got him. I think Jeremy Reiner did that scene fantastically. He just, when he wasn't answering some questions and Kate was just kind of going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole and was kind of like figuring out, I thought it was super, super well done and executed, and just really felt the stress coming off of Clint, and it was just such a great moment. Do you have something you're gonna say?
yeah. I all I want to say is this is the exact sort of stuff that I hope we get in Obi-Wan. The same way that Hawkeye reminisces about Natasha and everything about the regrets or just like the guilt of that. I want Obi-Wan to be doing the exact same thing as with Anakin and all that stuff, the Clone Wars. And like I've said before, that's one of my favorite parts of the show is like the PTSD that Renner has going on constantly. And I love, again, her mom brought it up. She brought it up. He has dreams about it again. And obviously it ends with Yelena. This whole season, they've been really hitting the Natasha point. So I like that, again, her death is meaning a lot. But again, for Obi-Wan, he better have this fucking trauma going on. If he's not, if he's just cool as like cutting down sand people, man, I give up. But I hope with Deborah Chow. So I just want to say that I want similar scenes of like this and Obi-Wan, of someone talking to him and just like thinking about cutting his friend's legs off and leaving him to burn and all this stuff. Like, I hope, fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite scene in the entire episode. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to see ScarJo in there, but it was just it happened very abruptly. I honestly thought Yelena was going to be in the apartment there. I thought that's where she was going to sneak up and attack him when he takes out the hearing aid. But no, we just get like a PTSD flashback memory, and it was very jarring, and it happened very fast, and it caught me off. Like, it just caught me by surprise, and like I was like borderline tearing up because it's just such an emotional scene, like back in Endgame. So just to see it here again, and I think again, like episode 1, the Natasha moment, we don't see ScarJo, but just like him reacting to like them just having the cartoony Natasha, and it's such a heavy weight that Clint has. Like, he's gone through so much dark shit, and like to have Nat as like such a solid foundation in his life, and now she's just gone. Like, it's I was gonna say it's nice to see him going through this. It's not nice to see it because it's sad, but it's really important for the story and the character that they're showing this.
Well, it's nice from like a character point of view of when we talked about, for me at least, with that first trailer when we got it, and it was just all like Christmas hijinks. I was like, man, I really hope it's not just Clint having a good time with Kate. And it's great that the whole series has not been that. Like, it would feel unjust for him and Black Widow. And I love that he told the story, and it's such like and I've never really put this together until tonight, that he tells the story how he was gonna shoot her with the arrow and he saw that she won out, so he gave her a second chance, recruit her, she became Shield, became Avenger, and then he had this flashback of, you know, her dying. So it's like he saved her life, but at the same point, like, he's kind of the result of her dying as well. Obviously not in a direct way, but she like wanted to make sure he lived, right? So she was there for like the start of her second life, but then he was also there at the very end of it. And it's a very cool kind of circle. And it's gonna be good when he does talk to Elena, who missed the majority of her life. They were together as kids, and then I guess like a month for in between Infinity War and Endgame. So it's like, technically Clint's gonna really know his sister better than Yelena, or her sister better than Elena, you know, which is again a very cool dynamic. And again, I'm excited for that Hawkeye Elena, you know, dynamic. I'm excited for what is it, Pugh and Renner have scenes together. Like, I think that'll all be great. It's just that you know, maybe the opening of it was a little like, okay, which, even though I still like the fight scene, I love there was a 4-way fight scene. I love that Kate just fucking went for like the play when, if you're doing Smash teams and someone has a bomb and there's like team damage on. They're like, okay, just I hope you can take this, and they just throw it. That's what Kate is like. I hope everyone can take this, and just shot this fucking Sonic thing in the middle. So liked all that, and it was fun that we got to even see like Maya and Yelena mix it up for a little bit. So cool that we're getting these like little character crossover things that we wouldn't even thought and already happening. So that's a positive, I guess, for the introduction for me.
Yeah, I thought the fight scene was all right. It was definitely a step up from like the fight choreography that we had in the first episode that I wasn't the biggest fan of. I mean, when you have that many factors, right? 4 people just having like a free for all, basically. There was a little bit of teams in there, but it was pretty chaotic. That was fun. But just touching upon Yelena again, like I think what I want with the character and like particular, what am I even trying to say here? Specifically, there we go. It's late.
Only 1 a.m.
Yelena and Clint, like I want to have time and not rushed of like their interaction.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me is that we only have 2 episodes left, and we need a conclusion with the Tracksuit Mafia, or at least somewhat conclusion with Maya. We like Jack and Eleanor, like if they're just not villains for the rest of the show, like I think that's going to take away from this season, personally, because they set them
might
up
be
so
the
much
season
from the first
2
episode.
setup villains. I think,
But we know that they're a tie-in now directly to the Tracksuit Mafia, right? They confirmed that.
Yeah, they did
Jack's
confirm
the lead
Jack,
of the-
but I just wonder if there's going to be so much stuff again. There's going to be so much stuff going
There's
on
so
that they're
much
going to have
stuff.
to deal with them next year, you know, or maybe
Yeah.
as right now they'll find some way for Jack to write off like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Because the fact that Kate was warming up to him in this episode to me shows that they might save that full reveal for next season, and that's why she might hear him out a little bit because she did see him being a good guy to his mom, and clearly because her mom's a fucking villain too. Clearly they do love each other. It's just the fact that they're on the bad side. So I think that's what they might do. Is Jack may have seen, I didn't know what was going on, appear innocent. But again, I guess that's just.
I felt like that was
bad.
stripped away though, because afterwards when she went to see Hawkeye and Clint just told her like, "Hey, he's connected to the tracksuit." All this, like her face looked like devastated. Like, are you sure? So
And I don't even know why they had that scene in there earlier, because it's like if you're just gonna have her pissed off at him again, like she didn't have to start warming up to him. So that's what I mean. Like that should come into play at some point. Her warming up to him. If it doesn't, then it's like, well, there's no point. So what? For half an hour out of a day, she's like, Jack's a good guy. Oh no, he's not.
And I feel like it's pointless to even like play around with that idea, because you just like you revealed your cards in the very first episode. We know Jack like murdered his uncle. Like we know this from the very first episode, and then
Or at least knows who did it.
Yeah, and then multiple episodes later, we're getting like this. And you like the scene? I am not liking any of the scenes with Jack, Eleanor, and Kate. I really do not, honestly. I thought that was way too long. It was incredibly awkward.
Yeah.
They're just like getting all seductive dancing in front of like the daughter. Like that is such a weird scene if I'm in Kate's position there. And again, they wrote her to be like, "Oh, this is awesome. I love seeing my mom just getting groped in front of me. Like she's never
That
felt this
wasn't
way
the
before."
point. No, the point was she doesn't
Yeah, I
dance,
know.
and she's like, she does
Fuck.
dance, and then they
But,
do,
like,
she's.
I'm
never
not
seen her
liking
this
Eleanor,
happy.
so it doesn't help at all.
I
I
know.
don't want to see Eleanor happy. So I really didn't like that at all. So like that was the part of the episode where I'm like, man, this is gonna be a rough episode. But then like following that, we get the Christmas moment, we get the Natasha flashback, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, this is crazy. So I was really in it there, but I am just so confused on where we're going with Jack and Eleanor, because if it's not like a solid conclusion this season, I don't know how I'm gonna feel on the show, honestly. Like I like a lot of the character stuff, but just structurally, like I feel like they don't know what they want to do with their villains for the season. Like they're like, we'll just throw all these people in, and then in the last episode we'll pick who's the main antagonist, because we still have Kingpin, right? He's coming somewhere.
Maybe again, not confirmed at all.
Like,
They're just rumors,
Taylor might be
but
right. It might be an end credit in the very last episode.
Hey,
They're
you
gonna
guys
Darth
are-
Vader. They're gonna Darth Vader Rogue One us. We're the best season ever. You know, we saw Kingpin and it was great. You know, I want to answer this question after our last ad break. And we're back. So Taylor, did you have a mind about this question, or do you want to say something else?
I have another question I want to pitch you guys, but
Okay,
you do
so-
all in the game first.
Okay, so All in Game says, why so confident ongoing series opposed to a limited series that spins off to certain characters in the movies and other shows? I think I get what you're saying, because also we have Echo confirmed, right? I guess my thing is like, because if this is just like a done deal, I think the stuff in this show has to wrap up. I'm not saying when they introduce Kingpin, they have to go, oh, it's Kingpin and then he's in jail. Not that. I just want it to be somewhat substantial. Or again, whoever the villain is, if Maya is getting her Echo show, I don't see her being the big bad main villain. And again, with Kate's parents, you could maybe wrap it up in 2 episodes. I think that could be rushed. So if you don't wrap it up, I feel like you will just get Hawkeye season 2. Again, I think if Hawkeye season 2 happens, Haley Steinfeld would be the main star, but I think Renner would come back for appearance or something like that. Like even when they did that moment of when the LARPing people were in their apartment, man, that felt like the Matt Fraction run of just people walking around like, hey, Clint, like that felt like that. So that's why I think on the game that I think there's just too much stuff that is conjoined to this season that would feel weird if they did it. Like if they were to say, hey, we introduce Yelena here, and then you'll see Hawkeye and Yelena face off in the Yelena show. I think that would be very strange. And I know that's the point in the MCU, but when you're introducing like the whole season for Hawkeye has been about I lost Natasha, and that's a really big thing. And for it to carry over in Yelena's show, you might make it work, but then I think it hurts this season, you know? So I'm not sure if you guys have anything to say about that, about it being, you know, spinning off into other seasons instead of Hawkeye season 2.
Well, my question kind of piggybacks on this because I was thinking like, what if you were to, again, with
That's another
Kingpin,
show.
With Kingpin, what if you have him not necessarily prominently appear as like the villain of this show? Again, I'm gonna resort to my prediction: end credit scene, and then have him drop in the Echo show. Again, you could have Echo pick up a lot of the storylines that they're leaving here with like Kate Bishop's parents and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to a Hawkeye season 2, right?
Yeah, I guess my thing is just like because I know the ending of this show to me has to be Clinton has to get home to the Christmas dinner, and it's gonna be with Haley. I guess you're right, good, but does that mean Kate? Like, okay, so her parents or whatever, Jack and Eleanor, let's say they are villains in Echo. I feel like that's kind of strange if we don't get to see Kate Bishop deal with them. And I also feel like it'd be strange for Kate Bishop to be in the Echo show. I feel like they would just do Hawkeye season 2, right? So like if they are villains, I feel like the emotional tie is to Kate. So and with like
But
Echo,
maybe she doesn't deal with them yet. I mean, maybe it could be just with Echo dealing with the repercussions of trying to go after an Avenger, and like Hawkeye said, like you're going to draw on one attention, and now she's dealing with the big bad villain Kingpin, you know, the uncle.
So I'll ask you this, just, you know, gun to your head, just a yes or no. Do you think there'll be Hawkeye season 2?
Yes.
Okay, so even with those points, you still believe they would just do the season 2, right?
I do.
Kirkland, where are you?
I mean, gun to his head, he has to. That's the right
Yeah.
answer. Yeah, we're getting Hawkeye season 2.
Yeah. Same thing. You think it'll be mostly a season 2 that this like, or like all the game saying, could you see more of these storylines? Elena, Fisk. I think Fisk will. Fisk is going to be an Echo if he's in this show, but there's still lots of other stuff going on.
Yeah, Fisk is an easy tie to the Echo show just because they're related, right? The uncle tie there.
Yeah.
Yelena will transcend. She's gonna be fucking leading the Avengers here pretty soon.
Yeah. She's
if I had it my way.
It. Yeah, first poster of New Avengers, just Yelena, and everyone's like small heads around her, you know.
She just rips the shield from Sam. This is my shield.
Yeah. We should do in the new year. We should actually do a cast about who we think will be the new lineup of Avengers, because that'd be fun with all the new characters we have. So look
Will
out,
we separate
2021.
Young Avengers and Avengers?
That's what we can talk about next year.
Okay.
You want to talk about that at 113?
Absolutely not. Where we go?
You're talking about
John.
the different as far as like a Hawkeye season 2 versus limited shows. Like we said, the Kingpin being there, but like what about her parents, tracksuit, Clint's family, you know, stuff like that.
Yelena. It's tough to say at this point in time because I just don't know what the finale is going to be. I've already been talking about my concerns with just how many moving parts are already in play right now. And I could be eating my words a couple episodes down the line, right? If it's like, wow, they killed that finale. They tied it all up in a bow very nicely. And I think the method for that is to not just have a hard finish on these people's fuck, I started reading comments mid-thought. Don't do that at 1:50 in the morning. Just like not having a hard finish. Like, okay, Jack is dead. Eleanor's in prison. Like, I think if we go that route, it'll be like, wow, what a jump from like them dancing in the living room to just they're full evil. So for the health of the show, I hope it gets stretched out into a season 2. I think I would still have issues just for how much was shown in the beginning of like, okay, well, these are big bads. And so they would be Hawkeye for sure. The Echo, we already talked about. Kingpin would be in there. I want to say more tracksuit guys too, but it sounds like they're pretty tied to Jack. But I guess also Maya's their like intermediate leader. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm confused on that one, but yeah.
It was a good back and forth here. Sir John said, "Let's talk about Hawkeye's TV. Did he find that shit in the garbage?" But then All Game did point out that's Kate's aunt's TV there in the apartment. She's a senior citizen, spending the winter in Florida. So yeah, that's not his place. I did like his little setup of like having all those food packages tied to him. And she's like, "There you go. There's the Hawkeye costume." I liked that line. That was really good. Sir John, I'll take you on this bet of Kingpin beats Clint with Echo's leg. Mark my word. I will take you on that 100%. That will not happen. There's no chance I see that happening, at least in this season. I want to talk about that, where not so much the Rolex having Tony shawarma recipe in it, but
these bold predictions.
Yeah, Sir John's all over the place. But what I want to talk about is that watch. So they've figured it out that okay, it has a tracking signal. It's something important now. I swear I meant to go back, but because it's late, I wanted to get to the review so we get to bed and everything like that. But I swear Hawkeye said that watch belonged to somebody who's been out of action for a while. Is that what he said? Did you guys catch that?
Out of the game for a while.
So what the fuck does that mean? So like, it's a cheat if they say, "Oh yeah, it's Tony's watch." Well, yeah, no shit, he's out of the game. He's 6 feet under. But I feel like I don't know what that means, and that's very interesting.
Do you think it could be like a way to expose who Ronan is? Like, and that's what he means, out of the game for a while, and he's worried because if Tracksuit Mafia gets it, that's bad business.
Well, it would make sense that that's it, because it came with all the Ronin gear, right? They're doing the auction for all the Ronin stuff, and then there's just a wristwatch there. I personally hope it's not that case. I hope it's a brand new character that we haven't seen before. Travis Snell, GeekVerse podcast. Chance to show your quality.
I didn't have my hand up.
Well, I interjected. You're about to comment on Taylor's comment with the Ronin watch. Just give us your thoughts, man. It's a podcast.
It was a very
speak.
I feel like I wasn't even trying to get a word in. Two things. I just feel like the way I know he's talking, because just the way Clint was talking when he talks about Roman and Kate, I feel like it's a very different tone. When he was talking about this guy, it did feel like someone else. I don't know. Hey, maybe that's how we get Daredevil. He's been out of commission for a while, but no, like. That's what's strange to me. I'm not sure if like Nick Fury counts because he's up in space, but I don't know. Like it's interesting, but I feel like he's talking about something else, because I just feel like, again, if it's just another Ronin thing. Also, I feel like the whole big thing was no one knows who Ronin was, so I guess this watch might just have footage of Ronin with his mask off, but that would just be if I need that. But hey, that would be almost similar to the tape run in Matt Fraction, right? If some
No, absolutely.
It would be something to prove. So I don't know. I'm with you that I hope it's something different and not just like I said, not just Ronin thing, or not just literally like I said, like, oh, it was Tony's and he's out of commission. It's just sad moments. Like, no, like it should be something. And I hope what happens, and what I think is how it could meet Kingpin, is someone takes that watch up to their boss and says, "Oh, we got it," and he opens up this little package, the watch, and when you zoom out, it's Kingpin holding it, and that's where it's like, we don't even know about the watch yet. It's like, oh shit, what could this watch do? You know, like Kingpin with Avengers level tech or Avengers tools, whatever it may be, not a good thing, and that's a good thing for our heroes to fight against, is Kingpin with some extra tech going on. But that's my theories on the watch. As far as who, I don't know, but I'm very excited to see like how many people. I'm going to be so mad if it's Daredevil and they're saying Matt was a shield agent this entire time. Well, Clay, there's been rumors that he is in Secret Evasion, so I would prepare yourself for it, because I think that's the whole thing. You can say he's just like Hawkeye.
Matt Murdock is?
Yeah. We talked about this. Yeah. So like, I think there's a version where it's just like, yeah, he was like Clint, he was like Natasha, like, and that's where Clint may know him, right? When he's like, oh, he's been out of action for a few years. We don't know. He could be on another mission. He could be injured. I think there's a really good shot he could be a shield agent, and that's where it's like, oh yeah, he was a lawyer. Shield caught him. They said we could use a man like you and stuff like that. And the
Maybe
same thing is
where Steve Rogers is. Maybe it tells
on the moon.
On the moon, yeah, confirms.
Where he's living with Peggy and Steve. Hey guys, but like, I think the thing that with Daredevil, and the good thing about the blip is they got 5 years to play in. So when people go, oh, where was Daredevil? Where was Matt Murdock? From Infinity War to Endgame, there's so much time to play with. We don't know what could happen to him, where he was, and everything like that. So, I'm interested to see where this watch could go, and
Yeah, I have no hard predictions on who I think it could be, but I'll say right now, I don't think it's Daredevil.
You don't think so? No, I don't. I think that'd
No.
be too convenient. But
Yeah.
like I said, I still think that Shield Dangerous thing's possible. So he has the world's greatest eyes. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna become Hawkeye. I think that's all Kate Bishop.
He might become Archer,
Yeah, he'll become
not
Archer. Yeah.
Hawkeye.
The only thing I wanted to shout out, which was funny because we said like, oh, you only need to do this once this season, that the LARPing people did come back. That was one of those like I like it, but that was one of those lulls of like, oh, we're getting into it, and it's like, oh, we're doing the LARPing thing again. The costumes, like, I get it. We're gonna set up that they get those costumes in the finale, and that's why I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be a happy episode or a happy season ending. But it just was like okay, cool. Grills was back, but I just it didn't play for me as good as the first time. I'll say that.
I agree. I liked them in the apartment, like you mentioned. It was very Matt Fraction, like comic book feels
Yeah.
of just them all like, "Hey, Clint, how's it going?" I love the the moment when the lady didn't want to give up her bombshell bag
That was so
he just
hilarious.
didn't have a bag for his arrows. Yeah, so that was a fun moment, and yeah, completely was not expecting to see those LARPers again. And I predicted we weren't going to see Grills again, so I was proven wrong there.
Yeah.
So
Kirkland's
good to
wrong a
see
lot
him.
tonight.
Oh shit!
Not 100% wrong.
Another thing I want to shout out. Mention the boomerang arrows,
Yep.
but it was on the opposite
Yeah.
spectrum this time. It
Phenomenal.
was Kate mentioning it instead of Hawkeye, as opposed to the comics. So I thought that was great. I love that dynamic. Like she's like, if it comes back, you just jump out of the way.
Yeah.
Like the line was like, well, if all of our trick arrows were boomerangs, we wouldn't have lost them. It's like, how tricky would those arrows be if they're all just boomerang arrows? They'd just all be boomerang arrows.
and they would just come back at you and hurt you, and that's just like, yeah, dodge. Yeah, no, I wrote that. Yeah, nice shout out to the and I wonder if Kate's gonna create that for the finale or something like that. Like that's gonna be one of her first trick arrows or something. She'll find a way.
Probably.
Yeah. So, the other thing I just want to show that I actually got a good giggles when they were doing the plan about Jack in the Mill and they're writing all that thing, and he's like, "Are you sure that's washable?" And he starts to wash it, and no dice, and it is not washable at all. So her aunt just has like this plan written and some more fun. I love that pizza dog is just this. Not only is it pizza, he's just obsessed with finding any human food around, and then he's just eating it. And then like Clint tried to stop him, and then at the end of that house scene, he just gave up and was feeding him like the chick mix and everything like that. So pizza dog, he's a legend.
When maybe I missed this, when Kate showed up at her aunt's, she showed up with Pizza Dog. Where was she storing Pizza Dog this whole time if her apartment burned down?
So she's living with her mom.
Was Pizza Dog there? Because we didn't see Pizza Dog.
Last week he was, yeah.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah,
I
he
felt
went
like
in with
he
them,
would have
yeah.
popped up at like when they were being interviewed at the beginning of the episode or something. But
No, last week when they were doing the security check, she had Pizza Dog with her. The mom didn't
Okay.
mention about having a dog and liking or disliking, but maybe that'll come next week, or maybe the dog will just like sit and like bark at Jack the whole episode and like, what's
yeah.
wrong? What's wrong, Lassie? I'm not bad.
we should mention Clint did get the Ronin sword out of Jack's possession too.
Yeah, very slyly, So I was surprised it was
Very
like
smooth.
fully retracted, and he somehow got that out. So
And I thought Jack was gonna notice or something because he's been fondling that sword for a while now. It seems he really liked it. I don't know. I'm finding so many inconsistencies with his character. I'm not liking him, and I don't see him being saved this season.
you don't see him being saved, Jack?
Like redeemed as a good character. I think he's
Oh,
just
yeah,
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skeevy. Yeah. Anything else to say? Anything else we've missed? Well, next week.
Probably some things we missed. It's
Oh, there's
pretty
always
late.
things we miss. But yeah, no, you know what? There's next week I think will at least be a good one. And we're probably gonna meet a certain Mr. Fisk. What I would love is I'd love them as a super surprises and it's not the end credit. The fucking show just opens up with Fisk. That would be great if he's just like reaming Maya out for being like, hey, where the fuck is everybody? Like I gave you a job and no one's around here. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be interesting. I'm still excited. Again, I think this was a lower tier episode, but I still liked it. I'm still excited for the show. And again, with us having these lower expectations, at the end of the day, they got 2 episodes. Maybe they can set it up quite right, and we're gonna be happy with it. I'm still, like I said, give them the benefit of the doubt till we get 2 weeks later. So, all right,
Yep,
we did it.
absolutely.
We'll be back next week. You can check out Matrix Retro coming out, newscast coming out. Me and Kirklin will be talking about the Game Awards, lots of good stuff. And I promise you, it'll not be boring.